Our story begins on a stormy day in an ancient castle dungeon where countless corpses lay piled on the ground, their fresh blood splattered across the path. A girl clutching a blood-stained knife stepped forward and called out to Qin Feng, declaring that he was truly special. Even with a lifespan 100 times longer than normal, he had still managed to make it through the ruins of the ancient gods. However, she added that his journey was about to end because of the artifact he had obtained there. The Eye of Judgment. She wanted it for herself. Nearby, a badly injured man lay atop a heap of corpses. He asked the girl, Qin Xiaoyu, why she would betray her own brother at such a moment. Qin Xiaoyu looked at Qin Feng coldly and told him he was nothing more than the adopted son of their parents. How dare he call himself her brother when they weren't even blood-related? Suddenly, another man called out to Qin Xiaoyu from behind. Song Fei. He told her there was no need to hide the fact that Qin Feng had indeed been useful to them in acquiring the artifact. Turning to Qin Feng, Song Fei said he was truly grateful, because without Qin Feng's efforts, he and Xiao Yu wouldn't have been able to obtain this magical weapon. To completely drain Qin Feng's life, Song Fei had even gone to great lengths to stab him with the Soul Reaper sword. Furious, Qin Feng couldn't believe he had worked so hard to support Xiao Yu, taking countless risks, fighting for her, and helping her level up after the game arrived, only to be betrayed. He realized he had misjudged her. Ever since their parents passed away, he had tried to discipline her, guiding her life, but once the apocalypse became reality, she only saw him as somewhat useful. Now that the artifact was in their hands, his value had disappeared. Song Fei charged at Qin Feng to end his life, reassuring Xiao Yu that she needn't worry, he would take care of her. Gravely wounded and filled with rage, Qin Feng shouted that even in death, he would never forgive them. Without hesitation, Song Fei separated Qin Feng's head from his body, ending his life. In the year 2025, the forgotten game of God would arrive. While people slept, they would be forcibly dragged into the game's world. The only currency within the game was life itself. Dying cost players a portion of their lifespan, while killing monsters earned them more life. Players could even consume some of that life to extract skills from the game and bring them into reality. For a truly strong individual, feats like crushing a tank with bare hands, slicing an airplane with a sword, or even surviving a nuclear bomb were no longer impossible. From then on, the world changed drastically, and disasters spread everywhere. Qin Feng had survived alongside his sister, overcoming countless hardships, and barely managed to become one of the 100 strongest people in the world. After facing numerous dangers, he finally made it through the ruins of the ancient gods, and obtained the Eye of Judgment. He believed he was finally qualified to stand at the very top, only to be betrayed and stabbed by his own sister. At the brink of death, he regretted how his life's efforts had only served others. Everything he did seemed to earn him nothing but blame and resentment. Even in those final moments, part of him refused to accept death. He wished he could live again and do things for himself instead. Yet, when he thought it was all over, Qin Feng suddenly opened his eyes to find himself in his own room, shocked and confused. He wondered if he was still alive, or if he had somehow returned to the real world. Checking his phone, he saw that the date was indeed 2025. He realized in amazement that he had been reborn 9 years earlier, on the very day the forgotten game of God began. The next day, Xiao Yu kicked open his door and found him at home. Infuriated, she demanded to know why he hadn't answered her calls. She raged that she had simply gone to support Brother Song Fei. So why was Qin Feng trying to cut himself off from her? Didn't he understand how important it was for her to go and cheer Song Fei on right now? Her brother was in crisis, and she blamed Qin Feng for stopping her and cutting off her money, preventing her from competing on the leaderboards. She accused him of turning her into a nobody, and insisted it was his fault. Qin Feng looked at her and remembered that on the day the forgotten game of God was released, the two of them had a huge argument about Song Fei. Before the game arrived, Song Fei was a very famous idol, and Xiao Yu was a die-hard fan. On the surface, Song Fei seemed glamorous, but in reality, he was a scoundrel who secretly cheated many of his female fans out of their money and their bodies. Qin Feng, wanting to protect Xiao Yu from being deceived, had forbidden her from getting involved with him, only to be accused of meddling in her life. Growing more furious, Xiao Yu asked if Qin Feng was pretending not to hear her. She shouted that it was his fault Song Fei had dropped off the leaderboard that month. If Qin Feng hadn't cut off her money, none of this would have happened. She placed the entire blame on him. Before she could say another word, Qin Feng slapped her hard across the face. Xiao Yu collapsed to the floor in tears, screaming at Qin Feng, "How dare you hit me!" Qin Feng looked at her coldly. "I don't have the time or the patience to argue with you today, but if you keep barking, I'll break your mouth." He threw an ATM card at her feet. "This is the money our parents left me. No matter how hard my life has been over the years, I never touched a single cent of it. I'll pay you back everything, so you can't say I owe you anything. For our parents' sake, I won't argue further, but from this day on, I no longer have a sister like you." Xiao Yu stared up at him, crying in anger, as he walked away to his room. Inside his room, Qin Feng brooded over how, in his past life, he had sacrificed too much to protect Qin Xiaoyu, giving up countless opportunities to explore secret places and treasures. Now that he didn't have to worry about her, he wanted to see just how far he could go. Armed with his knowledge of the game from his previous life, he would surge ahead of everyone else. As for my sister, he thought, I'll let her do whatever she wants, but Song Fei, I'll kill him with my own hands. With that, he swallowed some sleeping pills and logged into the forgotten game of God. When Qin Feng opened his eyes, he found himself standing in the grand hall of profession selection, a place filled with innumerable possible classes. He remembered how, in his previous life, his first time here had left him anxious and uncertain, taking hours just to decide on a profession. This time, however, he couldn't afford to waste a second. In his past life, he had chosen the warrior class to better protect Qin Xiaoyu. Although the warrior wasn't weak, it no longer suited him. Without his sister to worry about, his solo leveling would be much faster, and mobility was key. This time, I'll choose the assassin class. The moment he selected assassin, a sudden notification appeared before him. The artifact, Eye of Judgment, has already been bound and activated. Unique attribute unlocked. Might of Judgment. Passive. When entering the game abandoned by the gods, the wielder will automatically obtain the highest quality profession and talents. Qin Feng was stunned. That's the same artifact Xiao Yu stole from me in my previous life, he thought. Then he realized that once an artifact recognized its master, it became useless if stolen. Maybe my rebirth is thanks to this Eye of Judgment, he wondered. Suddenly, another notification appeared. Because of the Eye of Judgment, he had unlocked a hidden profession. His assassin class had transformed into the Shadow, the highest level hidden assassin subclass. It was entirely different from the warrior path of his previous life, granting immense power right from the start. He recalled that when selecting any profession, there was a minuscule chance of obtaining its superior hidden class. Apparently, the Authority of Judgment could turn that slim possibility into a certainty. What is this power? He mused. The system answered, Authority of Judgment, the most ancient and primordial authority in the universe. Authority prevails over rules and order. Currently, you lack divinity and cannot actively invoke it, but its passive effect is in place. Qin Feng was amazed. An authority that nullifies rules and order? He remembered how, in his past life, it wasn't until the 7th year of the game abandoned by the gods that a powerful figure escaped from Earth, abandoned by the gods, and reached the land of order, revealing humanity's first glimpse of the power of order. Yet even then, no one had ever truly obtained it. And now, he already possessed the original authority, capable of nullifying rules and order. If I can leave Earth abandoned by the gods and reach the land of order, I'll be able to gain divinity and fully activate my authority. Having completed his profession choice, Qin Feng needed a username. Since my profession was born in the shadows, he thought, I'll simply call myself Shadow. The system's explanation flashed before him as he prepared to enter Earth abandoned by the gods. This is a ruined land, teeming with monsters, ready to devour you and steal your life at any moment. Leaving the town to slay monsters will earn you tradable life. However, if you die in the game, half of your life, both tradable and non-transferable, will be deducted. Shelltown is a safe zone where monsters cannot enter, players cannot attack each other, and the life loss rate is 1x. As he stepped into the game, Qin Feng saw many other players, most of whom had just arrived like him. Confused voices filled the area. Some had just gotten home from night shifts, gone to sleep, and now found themselves here, feeling pain that confirmed this was no dream. Qin Feng listened to their chatter and realized the scale of this phenomenon. So many people have been dragged in. Soon, experts from various countries will appear, reshaping the world's order. If I want to stay ahead, I need to act quickly. Time waits for no one. Lost in thought, he suddenly noticed a group of players reappearing in town after being killed by a monster. They were frustrated at how difficult the game was. They had tried to fight a level 1 monster, and together they had only managed to bring its health down by about a third. The monster, however, took out half a player's health with a single hit, and finished them off with the second, sending them back to town with half their total life deducted. Among this team was a blonde-haired girl named Lizzie, who, to Qin Feng's surprise, also appeared to have a hidden profession. She noticed that Qin Feng was similarly unique and approached him. "Hey, wanna team up?" Lizzie asked. "Those monsters out there are really strong, and it's impossible to beat them alone. We learned the hard way. The 5 of us got annihilated once already." Qin Feng politely declined. Annoyed, one of Lizzie's teammates scoffed. "Is he trying to act like a lone expert without even talking to us? The 5 of us couldn't handle those monsters, but he thinks he can do it alone? He must have a death wish." They all chuckled, insisting it was suicidal to venture out there solo. Lizzie checked his profile and noticed his codename was Shadow. She motioned to her teammates and said, "Let's see what skills he has. Even if he fails, we might learn more about the monsters. Or at least," she smiled grimly, "we'll see how he dies." Qin Feng wastes no time and heads straight into the forest to hunt monsters. Unbeknownst to him, the blonde-haired girl, Lizzie, and her teammates follow at a distance. After being dragged into this strange land abandoned by the gods, Lizzie quickly realized how dangerous it was. With years of experience as a veteran gamer, she had formed a party to level up, but none of them expected that the very first monster outside the newbie town would annihilate them. Lizzie notices something unusual about Qin Feng. His starting weapon differs from hers. A short sword instead of a dagger. His movement speed is faster than that of her assassin teammate, and even his gear looks different. Suspecting that Shadow might have a unique class or skill, she decides to tail him, hoping to gather valuable intel. Qin Feng, however, is fully aware they are following him. He activates Latent Image, a stealth ability that renders him invisible until he attacks. Moments later, Lizzie and her team emerge from hiding, only to find that Qin Feng has vanished into thin air. Did he just use a stealth skill? One of Lizzie's teammates wonders. "I didn't think low-level assassins could hide so completely." Unable to locate him, they reluctantly return to town, deciding that wandering the forest again is too risky. They have already died once, and losing any more of their remaining lifespan would be devastating. Instead, they plan to search for treasure chests or special NPCs within the safety of the town. Now alone, Qin Feng reappears as his stealth duration ends. He marvels at how powerful his hidden class seems. Ordinary beginner assassins can be exposed easily at this level, yet his shadow class remains undetectable by either players or monsters in these early stages. He also knows the starting town offers little help in increasing combat power. It serves mainly as a refuge. In this godforsaken game, the weak are merely prey. He checks his status window, recalling that every new player starts with 10 points in each attribute. Different classes add bonuses on top of that. In his previous life, his warrior class granted only +3 strength and +3 constitution. Now, his hidden class Shadow provides bonuses to all attributes, and a staggering +8 agility. He even gains 5 extra attribute points to allocate freely. While many players initially boost strength or spirit for higher damage, Qin Feng knows from experience that no matter how much early damage you can deal, monsters can still crush you if they land a hit. Speed is the key. He allocates all his free points into agility. Suddenly, he hears a strange noise from behind a tree and spots a level 1 creeper, an ordinary grade monster in the midst of evolution. Qin Feng immediately recognizes it as the same monster that killed the 4-man team earlier. He sees fresh wounds on its body, likely inflicted by those unfortunate players. When a monster kills someone, it gains that person's lifespan and uses it to evolve. The creeper lunges at Qin Feng, but he easily evades the attack. Activating Latent Image, he vanishes once more. Confused, the monster searches frantically for him, but before it can react, Qin Feng launches a stealth-breaking strike to the monster's head. He deals 174 points of damage, instantly slaying the level 1 creeper and earning 10 experience points. Qin Feng stands there, momentarily stunned. It's the first time he has ever taken down a monster in a single blow. The system promptly explains that his backstab skill combined with attacking from outside the monster's field of vision, doubled his damage. The synergy of multiple assassin skills magnified his strike to a terrifying level. In his previous life as a warrior, he could only deal around 40 damage on a critical hit. Taking down a creeper was a slow, hard-fought battle, one he often did while sharing resources with Qin Xiaoyu. Now, free from those obligations, he quickly checks the loot. The rewards include 3 days of transferable life, 54 years, and 155 days of non-transferable life. He's a bit puzzled at the relatively small total, given that the creeper likely absorbed over 100 years from the players it killed. Still, life exchange mechanics are complicated, and it's not worth dwelling on. Just when he thinks he's done, the Eye of Judgment unexpectedly activates. A system prompt informs him that he has obtained the talent, Infinite Evolution. Infinite Evolution, original main talent. When you kill monsters in solo mode, there is a chance to gain evolution points. You also receive 5 evolution points automatically every 24 hours. Defeating a boss-level monster in solo mode grants 100% of the evolution points. You currently have 5 evolution points. Qin Feng can hardly believe his eyes. The ability to upgrade skills in his past life, an item's grade never changed. Gear and skill books remained at whatever level they dropped, but now he wields a power that transcends the rules. He immediately uses 4 evolution points to upgrade his shadow skill from normal to bronze. Its duration extends from 12 to 16 seconds. The bonus attack on the first strike out of stealth goes from plus 60 to plus 90, and the cooldown decreases from 28 to 26 seconds. He also upgrades backstab from poor to normal, boosting its rear attack damage bonus from 10% to 15%. Qin Feng grins, realizing how these small percentage increases can create a massive gap in power, especially this early in the game. With his improved shadow ability, his stealth now lasts 16 seconds. And with eventual mastery, it can double to 32 seconds. At that point, he might even chain it into near-infinite invisibility. If he'd had this upgrade a few moments earlier, he could have killed the creeper even at full health in a single hit. Suddenly, a voice interrupts his thoughts. Turning around, he sees 2 new players who have just entered the forest. One brags to the other, "I could take down at least 10 of these monsters. This game is a piece of cake." The girl beside him, clearly impressed, adds, "You're amazing, Brother Gangzi. None of these creatures stand a chance." In that instant, Qin Feng notices a giant spider monster lurking just above them, poised to attack. Qin Feng immediately activates his initial skill, Shadow, becoming invisible. Seeing him vanish, the player with a sword and shield laughs smugly, assuming Qin Feng ran away because he was intimidated by his muscular form. He has no idea Qin Feng disappeared not out of fear of him, but of the monster lurking behind them. By the time the pair realizes what's happening, it's already too late. A spider-like monster ambushes and instantly kills them. This creature, known as the Nurse, is a level 1 bronze-ranked novice boss with around 1,600 HP, far too powerful for a typical newbie to handle. It also commands a swarm of smaller spiders, making it even deadlier. For Qin Feng, however, it's a golden opportunity to test his upgraded skills. He dashes forward while still invisible and breaks stealth with a powerful strike, dealing 338 points of damage to the Nurse. In the process, he takes some damage himself, but thanks to his high agility, he avoids a fatal blow. He only has about 130 HP, and a direct hit could have killed him outright. The enraged Nurse begins lashing out wildly, and its smaller spider minions go on high alert. Approaching for a direct attack becomes risky. Qin Feng quickly adapts. Picking up a few stones from the ground, he re-enters stealth and then breaks it again by throwing a stone at the monster. Because of his hidden class bonuses, stealth breaking damage, backstab, and weak point attacks, even a simple thrown stone inflicts 299 damage. Realizing his main source of damage comes from the stacked bonuses upon breaking invisibility, Qin Feng decides on a hit-and-run tactic. He waits for Shadow to come off cooldown, throws another stone or lands another strike to trigger his bonus damage, then hides again. In this repeated cycle of stealth and strike, the spider boss stands little chance. Before long, he slays the Nurse and gains enough experience to reach level 2. At that moment, a worldwide system announcement rings out. Player Shadow has killed Nurse, bronze rank, and is the first to reach level 2. The level leaderboard for Shell Village is now open. All around the globe, players are stunned. Many of them have been killed by basic monsters multiple times, yet someone has already defeated a bronze-ranked boss solo. The blonde-haired girl, Lizzie, and her teammates, still in disbelief, realize it must be the same Shadow who refused to join them. Meanwhile, the warrior who was just slain by the spider also sees the announcement, wondering who on earth this Shadow could be. His companion recalls the invisible assassin they encountered and suspects it might be him. Back in the forest, Qin Feng surveys the aftermath. He earned 300 experience points, enough to reach level 2, along with 2 evolution points and 1 reputation point for opening the Shell Village leaderboard. Unfortunately, once the boss died, the smaller spiders fled, so he missed out on extra kills and experience. He gathers his loot, which includes 46 days of transferable life, skill book, Hand of Avarice, bronze, plus 35 attack power, plus 4 agility. Reckon, level 1 point, Qin Feng is especially excited about Hand of Avarice, an assassin exclusive skill, allowing him to use it on monster corpses, with a 20% chance to receive extra loot. He recalls in his past life, a guild member with this ability became incredibly popular and always traveled with bodyguards because everyone wanted the bonus drops. Even a 20% chance is already significant, but then Qin Feng remembers his infinite evolution talent. If he can upgrade Hand of Avarice, he might eventually boost not only the success rate, but also the quantity of loot. Grinning at the possibilities, Qin Feng realizes he has truly stepped onto a path that transcends ordinary limits. Meanwhile, in the real world, Xiao Yu arrives at school, still furious about what happened the previous day. One of her friends asks if she's going to call her brother and apologize, mentioning that they skipped an exam the day before just to secretly cheer on Song Fei. Her friend assumes Qin Feng must be really angry about it. Xiao Yu, however, snaps back. "I didn't do anything wrong. Why should I apologize? If it weren't for him, we wouldn't have almost missed the entrance time yesterday. He should be the one apologizing to me." Her friend remarks that Qin Feng is a kind brother who treats Xiao Yu really well, and that sometimes she envies Xiao Yu for having him. This only makes Xiao Yu angrier. "If you like him so much, why don't you take him? He meddles in my business all day, and he's not even my real brother. Brother Song Fei is enough for me." Noticing a red mark on Xiao Yu's face, her friend asks what happened. Xiao Yu lies, saying she tripped and fell. She doesn't mention that it was Qin Feng who slapped her. When they enter the school and head toward their classroom, they see a large crowd gathered outside. Inside, one of their classmates, Zhang Wei, is asleep at his desk, and his entire body has become semi-transparent. Xiao Yu's friend asks another student what's wrong with him. The classmate replies that Zhang Wei said he wanted to take a nap, and after a moment, he turned into this phantom-like state. Another student chimes in, saying this phenomenon isn't isolated. Videos are all over the internet. It seems that people worldwide are experiencing the same thing. Falling asleep causes them to enter a semi-transparent state. The experts have no explanation yet. Alarmed, Xiao Yu's friend grabs her phone to warn her parents. Then, she suggests that Xiao Yu call her brother, just to be safe. Xiao Yu, however, scoffs. A guy like him? It'd be better if he just dropped dead. Inside the game. Meanwhile, Qin Feng successfully upgrades Hand of Avarice from bronze to gold. Its chance of obtaining extra loot from monster corpses rises from 20% to a staggering 70%. Testing it on a fresh kill, he activates Hand of Avarice and gains 2 evolution points plus 46 days of transferable lifespan. Delighted, he sees he now has enough points to push Hand of Avarice closer to +3, at which point it will grant a 100% chance of extra loot. Time in the real world keeps passing, and Qin Feng knows the governments must already be scrambling to understand what's happening. More people will soon flood into this game. Before that happens, he intends to race ahead in power. He equips his bronze-grade corrosion dagger plus 35 attack plus 4 agility, and reminds himself that before long, everyone will realize that skills and equipment from the game can be extracted into reality, provided 2 conditions are met. First, reaching level 10. 2, having enough tradable lifespan. Killing weak monsters is too time-consuming for his goals. If he wants to accumulate tradable lifespan quickly, he needs to hunt stronger bosses. As he ventures deeper into the forest, he hears the sounds of battle. Approaching quietly, he sees a party of players engaged with a level 2 sprint predator, another boss monster. He's surprised to spot Wang Meng among them. In his previous life, there were many rumors about Wang Meng assembling an entire team of hidden class players right after entering the Forsaken game, 6 of them in total. Wang Meng's hidden class, Holy Shield Warrior, double the base stats of a regular warrior, an innate invincibility skill. Mage class Hidden Profession. Double the spell damage of a regular mage. Built-in skill, Prophetic Fireball. Archer class Hidden Profession. Sharp-Eyed Shooter. Double the stats of a regular archer. Built-in skill, Rapid Shot. Priest class Hidden Profession. Oracle Priest. Double the healing power of a regular priest. Starts with a group healing skill. Despite their remarkable classes, the Sprint Predator remains difficult to handle because of its high speed. Their ranged attacks keep missing, and Wang Meng shouts for the healers to keep him alive while the others slowly chip away at the boss's health. From his hidden vantage point, Qin Feng muses that Wang Meng is certainly optimistic. Even a team of hidden class players can struggle if they don't account for a monster's speed. Wang Meng forgot one crucial detail about fighting in the wilds. When battles drag on, more monsters are attracted by the noise. Just as Qin Feng predicted, another monster appears, a level 2 Corruptor, a regular monster covered in dark brown sludge with long-range attacks. One of Wang Meng's teammates wields a huge sword and rushes over to support him. Qin Feng notices this person also has a hidden class he hasn't seen before. Even so, the Corruptor's defense is too high, and the sword wielder only manages 33 damage. The monster spits out some kind of sticky liquid that slows their movement. Another Corruptor attacks the team's mage, who runs for her life, crying out for help. Qin Feng, watching silently, decides to step in. He kills the monster chasing the mage with a single blow, stunning everyone present. The mage, still trembling, wonders who saved her. Even the sword wielder, who dealt only 33 damage, can't believe his eyes. After all, defeating a simple level 1 crawler normally takes his team 10 seconds of concentrated effort, yet a level 2 Corruptor just got one shot. "Did you see who did that?" he asks the mage, who shakes her head. Wang Meng shouts for everyone not to get distracted and to keep attacking the other monsters. Meanwhile, Qin Feng swiftly finishes off another Corruptor. By slaying 2 level 2 Corruptors, he gains 40 EXP and 1 evolution point, plus a common grade skill book, Venom Dart, and 8 days of tradable lifespan. Reading the skill description for Venom Dart, Qin Feng sees it's a mid-range poison attack, which is very useful for him. He immediately evolves the skill to silver rank. Venom Dart. Throw a poisoned dart up to 14 meters away, dealing 120 attack damage and inflicting venom. Venom. Deals 50% continuous damage per second for 5 seconds, non-stackable. Cooldown, 5 seconds. Requirement, Level 2. As Qin Feng checks his new skill, the Sprint Predator suddenly charges at Wang Meng. Wang Meng blocks the first strike with his holy shield, unaware that the monster's real attack is a feint. The Sprint Predator slips past his guard, seriously injuring him. The healers can't keep up with his rapidly dropping health, and Wang Meng yells at his team to run. In that moment, Qin Feng uses Venom Dart by hurling his dagger at the monster, dealing a colossal 845 damage, instantly cutting the boss's HP in half. The Sprint Predator releases Wang Meng and flings him aside. Its HP keeps dropping due to the venom effect, taking 324 damage per second for 5 seconds, ultimately killing it. Because Qin Feng dealt over 90% of the damage, the loot automatically goes to him. Player Shadow has slain Sprint Predator. Bronze. He gains 600 EXP, enough to reach level 3, plus 2 evolution points and 55 days of tradable lifespan. Qin Feng realizes the monster's continuous poison damage also triggers his class's passive abilities. With stealth, he can remain invisible and keep throwing darts indefinitely. Nothing in the early or mid-game can stop him now. After the battle, Wang Meng sits on the ground, stunned. That damage! Is he even human? Suddenly, he notices the loot glow around the monster's corpse disappearing. Struggling to his feet, he thanks Qin Feng for saving his life and asks for his name. Qin Feng simply responds with a warning. In the wild, don't trust people too easily. Wang Meng, grateful, introduces himself in return. If you ever need anything, look for me, he offers, indicating he has considerable backing and resources. Qin Feng knows Wang Meng is trustworthy and well-connected through Daxia's government, making him a solid prospective trading partner for unwanted loot. Activating Hand of Avarice, Qin Feng gains an additional 3 evolution points and another 55 days of tradable lifespan. He also acquires Sprint Predator's Leather Greaves, ideal for an assassin class. Sprint Predator's Leather Greaves Bronze, plus 9 physical defense, plus 5 all elemental resistances, plus 15% cooldown speed. Requirement, Level 2. Thrilled with his gains, Qin Feng notes he still has plenty of other class gear and skill books that he can sell. Once his bag is full, he plans to return to town and trade everything for lifespan. His power is growing 100 times faster than in his past life, and he's determined to use it, to exact his revenge on Song Fei. Meanwhile, in another area, several players are battling monsters. As the fight goes on, more and more creatures are drawn to the commotion, forcing the players to run for their lives. But just as they turn to flee, a massive boss monster appears in front of them, blocking their path. Taken by surprise, they wonder what kind of monster it could be, yet before they can react, it attacks and kills them instantly. After dying, they respawn at a newbie village, furious and in disbelief. They complain that monsters always appear in packs, and flee when their health is low. The players need to reach level 3 to exit the game, but with so many monsters swarming them, they have no idea how they'll ever achieve that. One party member suggests gathering more people, thinking that a 3-person team is too small. Perhaps 6 or even 10 players would be better. Another, however, disagrees, saying he once saw a 10-person team wiped out by a huge pack of monsters. On the other hand, if a group becomes too large, it risks attracting a powerful boss. He recalls seeing a team of 40 players lure out a creature called the Damned, which killed over 30 of them with a single attack. They are all at a loss. If they cannot reach level 3, they'll be trapped in this world forever, never returning to their families. After all, everyone ended up here by falling asleep. Only their consciousness is present in the game. If they don't escape, their real bodies will starve to death. Meanwhile, a blood-haired girl named Lizzie also respawns in the same village after being killed by a monster. Furious at how difficult the game is, she notes that she and her team have already died 3 times, and they have fewer than 10 years of tradable life left. One of her teammates worries that if they die again, they might really die for good. She responds that, real or not, they can't afford another death. Glancing at the leaderboard, Lizzie notices a player called Shadow, leveling up astonishingly fast. Convinced he must know some secret method, she decides they need his help to reach level 3. Lizzie comes up with a plan. She tells her teammates to spread the word that if Shadow helps them reach level 3, she will pay him 10 million in cash once they return to reality. Meanwhile, Qin Feng is still out hunting monsters for evolution points. After gathering enough, he invests them all in evolving his skill, Hand of Avarice, thanks to the large number of evolution points he has spent. Hand of Avarice evolves from Platinum to Jade, an assassin skill. Now, when used on monster corpses, it grants a 110% to 160% chance of yielding an additional loot drop. And there is a 20% chance that this extra loot will increase by 1 rarity level. Qin Feng is amazed at the potential, wondering if further evolution could push these percentages even higher. Suddenly, he spots a gigantic monster called the Damned, the same one rumored to have annihilated a 40-player team. This beast is currently a bronze-level boss, but Qin Feng realizes it appears to be digesting life energy and may soon advance to silver level. Given the way it's feeding, it's clear it must have wiped out that large group. However, Qin Feng's backpack is already full, so even if he manages to kill the Damned, he wouldn't be able to pick up any loot. He marks the spot on his map, deciding to return to town to empty his backpack before coming back to deal with the monster. By the time he returns, it may well have advanced to silver level. Back in town, rumors spread rapidly. Someone is offering 10 million in cash for the top-ranked player, Shadow, to help them reach level 3. While most players continue to die, their life ticking away each time, wealthy players are already scrambling for solutions. Meanwhile, the ordinary players fear that without such resources, they have no hope of escaping this nightmarish game. Just then, Qin Feng suddenly teleports into the crowd, leaving everyone stunned. He opens up a stall and begins selling equipment and skills. The onlookers are astonished. He's carrying 2 sets of bronze gear and still has 2 more to sell. Did he kill a bronze-level boss? Looking at his name, they realize he's Shadow, the #1 player on the leaderboard. However, no one can see his face because he has activated the hide face function. Since appearances in the game are identical to real life, it's clear he doesn't want his identity revealed. Suddenly, a pink-haired girl approaches Qin Feng to inquire about the price of an ice cone spell. Qin Feng replies that it costs 100 days of tradable life. Recognizing the girl as Grey Rose, who is currently ranked 11th in Shell Village, and who also uses Hide Face, he notes her surprise at the cost. She asks him to lower the price, but Qin Feng insists that Ice Cone spell significantly boosts a mage's monster clearing speed in the early game, making 100 days quite reasonable. Grey Rose then asks if she can pay him with real-world money instead. Qin Feng refuses, explaining that if she has cash, she should buy tradable life from other players and then trade with him. If no one else offers more, he'll hold on to the item for her. After a moment's thought, Grey Rose tells Qin Feng to wait, while she consults her teammates via their party channel. They encourage her, saying she led them to level 2 in no time, so they have no objections if she uses their collective tradable life. Their main goal is to reach level 3 and escape the game. Grey Rose agrees, instructing them to transfer some of their tradable life to her now, in exchange for money once they return to reality. After collecting enough tradable life, Grey Rose gives Qin Feng 100 days of it and obtains the skill book. Qin Feng suspects a full level 2 team has likely killed at least 30 or 40 trackers, so they probably had more than enough tradable life to spare, but he accepts the 100 days anyway. This brings his total to 368 days of tradable life. Suddenly, a blonde-haired girl named Lizzie approaches Qin Feng. She asks him to help her reach level 3 and offers him 10 million in cash once they are back in reality. The nearby players are taken aback. They'd heard rumors someone would pay Shadow 10 million, but they didn't believe it until now. Qin Feng remembers Lizzie from his past life, when she led a criminal gang that was eventually destroyed by the authorities. Allegedly, she used money to purchase tradable life as bait, kidnapped many people to work for her, and killed those who resisted her in the real world. Lizzie claims her father is the president of Dajiang Industries and reassures Qin Feng that payment isn't a problem. However, Qin Feng immediately refuses her offer. Stunned, Lizzie insists that no one knows what's really happening in this game and tries to tempt him, saying if he joins her, she'll ensure he lives like a king, with cars, houses, and any luxury he desires. Qin Feng glares at her and responds coldly, "If you're not here to buy, step aside. Don't interfere with my business." In his mind, money is pointless now. Tradable life is the only real currency in this world. Irritated, Lizzie tells Qin Feng she's doing him a favor by including him in her offer. If this were the real world, she would already have taught him a lesson. Furious, Qin Feng warns her that if she says one more word, he'll kill her until her tradable life drops to 0. Frightened, Lizzie and her teammates quickly flee. Later, Qin Feng sells his remaining gear, closes his stall, and sets out into the forest to deal with the damned. At this point, no one yet realizes that tradable life can be brought back to reality to extract in-game skills. Nor do they understand that this cursed game will soon disrupt real-world order. The legacies people once relied on will prove meaningless, and only personal strength will matter in the world to come. Meanwhile, the blonde-haired Lizzie is furious that Shadow not only refused her offer, but also dared to threaten her. She makes up her mind. Once she returns to reality, she'll make sure to kill him. Suddenly, a man named Mao Lijun approaches Lizzie and claims he's currently level 2 and knows a trick for leveling up. If she pays him the 10 million instead, he can help her reach level 3. Lizzie asks what sort of trick he has in mind. Mao Lijun says he usually doesn't share this information freely, but because it's Sister Lizzie, he'll make an exception. He explains that to level up efficiently, a player must assign all 5 initial attribute points to agility. This way, their sprint speed will be just fast enough to outrun crawlers, letting them dodge attacks easily and defeat monsters. Lizzie is surprised, realizing this must be how the game works. Unfortunately, she already put her 5 attribute points into strength. Even so, she's glad to have found someone who seems to know what he's doing, so she tells Mao Lijun to help her level up. However, since he's not as strong as Shadow, she offers him only 5 million. If he can get her to level 3, she'll pay him in cash when they return to reality. Mao Lijun accepts, thinking Shadow must be an idiot to refuse 10 million for no apparent reason. Meanwhile, Qin Feng empties his inventory in town and returns to the forest where he marked the damned monster. By now, the boss has already evolved to Silver Tier, cloaked in a gray mist as it continues to grow in power. Fully evolving from silver to gold might take 7 or 8 hours, but Qin Feng has neither the time nor the patience to wait. He uses Venom Dart and Stealth Break Strike, throwing the Venom Dart at the damned monster and dealing 659 damage. Thanks to the Venom effect, the boss's health begins to drop continuously. Qin Feng then activates Shadow Sneak to turn invisible again. A Silver Tier boss has 2 to 3 times the health of a Bronze Tier boss. Still only the equivalent of 2 or 3 Venom Darts for Qin Feng. Roaring in anger, the Damned prepares a powerful area attack, destroying everything around it. Qin Feng barely evades. aware that this mage-type boss has high-damage AoE spells. After using Venom Dart, he immediately retreated, staying just outside its attack range. One direct hit would kill him outright, given his current HP and defense. Sensing his presence, the boss hurls another attack in Qin Feng's general direction. He sprints away, dodging while waiting for Stealth's cooldown to end, planning to strike again during a brief lull. The moment the boss ceases fire, Qin Feng seizes the opportunity. He summons another Venom Dart and hurls it at the monster's head, then quickly activates Stealth Break Strike, dealing another 659 damage. The venom effect steadily drains the monster's health, pushing it closer to defeat. The boss's HP was nearly depleted, and it began to flee, thought Qin Feng. Better that it runs rather than make a pointless, desperate stand. It made things much easier for him. He launched one final attack and killed the monster instantly. System notification: congratulations, you have slain Curse Master, Silver Tier. You have gained 1,800 EXP. With this EXP, Qin Feng reached level 5 and earned 4 evolution points. He also obtained 124 days of tradable lifespan. He couldn't believe he had leveled up twice and gained so many evolution points. Then, using his greedy hand skill, he received an additional 8 evolution points and 248 days of tradable lifespan, effectively getting those bonus rewards twice. In total, the Silver Tier boss granted him 12 evolution points and 372 days of tradable lifespan. Just as Qin Feng was marveling at the bounty, Greedy Hand's extra effect triggered, upgrading one of his loot items from Silver Tier to Gold Tier. In other words, he had just scored a Gold Tier item. As expected of the Jade level Greedy Hand, he thought, there's a 20% chance to upgrade extra loot by 1 tier. The boss also dropped 7 or 8 pieces of equipment, but Qin Feng's backpack only had 10 slots. It would be too time-consuming to return to town after every boss kill just to clear space. He hoped the Curse Master might drop some sort of storage ring to expand his capacity. When he inspected the Gold Tier item, he was stunned. He hadn't expected to obtain something like this so soon. Scene shift to the town. Wang Meng's team successfully returned, alive and at level 3. The group thanked Wang Meng for his help, saying they managed to survive and level up thanks to his leadership. Wang Meng, however, credited everyone's hard work and encouraged them to keep it up in the days ahead. A mage girl in the team blushed, lamenting that she hadn't added that big shot, Shadow, as a friend when she had the chance. She assumed it was because she looked muddy and disheveled, and he must have been put off. Another teammate teased her, saying that if she had been wearing the gear they just found, maybe he would have added her. Just then, the leaderboard refreshed, showing that Shadow had reached level 5. The other players were shocked to see him jump directly from level 3 to level 5 in such a short time. Did he kill some insanely powerful boss? They wondered. After all, they had seen him selling equipment only about 10 minutes ago. How could he gain 2 levels so quickly? One player joked that his sister was 18 this year, hoping Shadow might take a liking to her so he could benefit and get some help leveling up. Wang Ming's teammates were also amazed. They had just hit level 3 themselves, and now this guy was already at level 5. How are we supposed to compete with that? But Wang Ming urged them not to dwell on it, reminding them their top priority was to return to reality and warn their families and friends about this cursed game. The world was bound to fall into chaos, and at the very least, their loved ones needed to be prepared. With that, they logged off from the game. Back in the real world, when Wang Meng opened his eyes, he found himself surrounded by several of his comrades. They saw him awaken and quickly asked if he was all right, explaining that he had turned semi-transparent, and they were worried something terrible had happened. Wang Meng shook off their concerns and told them to gather everyone immediately. Something major was underway. Wang Meng told his senior officers everything that had happened in the godforsaken game. He explained how he formed a party of hidden professions, nearly got everyone wiped out, and was ultimately saved by someone called Shadow. He also mentioned that when Shadow saved them, he was only at level 3, yet by the time Wang Meng's party reached level 3 themselves, Shadow had already jumped to level 5. The senior officers were astonished and wondered how Shadow could have gained 2 whole levels so quickly. If he was already level 5, that would make him one of the top players in the world. Wang Meng speculated that maybe Shadow had killed a boss or something similar. Based on what Wang Meng observed, Shadow reached level 3 only an hour before, so the officers questioned why Shadow had not returned to reality in the meantime. They guessed he might have no close relatives, and therefore felt no need to contact anyone. Wang Meng nodded, but he wasn't sure himself. Suddenly, one of the female officers suggested that Shadow might be a transmigrator. She claimed transmigrators are typically orphans and become strong very quickly. However, the senior officer scolded her for making such jokes in a serious situation. He then explained that the information Wang Meng gathered in the game matched what the higher-ups had discovered independently. New research showed that some older people died shortly after falling asleep, and when their data was compared to employees who had returned from the game, it emerged that those elders had died repeatedly in the game. The conclusion was shocking. If your in-game lifespan reached 0, you would die in reality. This was an abnormal phenomenon beyond human understanding, almost as if they were being invaded by some unknown higher power. The senior officer then announced an emergency directive from above. Vanguard teams would be formed according to geographical locations to explore the godforsaken game and share any new information. A large professional army needed to be created quickly. This was a global crisis. Every nation was doing its utmost to investigate the game, and falling behind would mean losing international influence. They had to acquire information at all costs. He called on Yu, the female officer who had joked about Shadow, and appointed her captain of Team 1, making Wang Meng her vice-captain. The two could select their own teammates. From Wang Meng's description, the senior officer believed Shadow was not a bad person, and instructed Wang Meng to befriend him while also investigating him. The senior officer wanted to uncover Shadow's true identity as soon as possible. Ideally, they could establish cooperation with Shadow and learn everything he knew. With that, the meeting was dismissed. Meanwhile, at Xiaoyou High School, the students were buzzing about the godforsaken game. One of their senior classmates, Zhang Wei, had mentioned that anyone in the same district who fell asleep at the same time would appear in the same starter village. A girl who overheard this asked if it was really true. She wanted to go home and help her parents adapt, since they had never played games and might struggle at first. However, a black-haired girl advised against getting parents involved too soon, saying it would be better to level up first and then guide them. Sitting beside them, Qin Xiao was on her phone, unable to believe that such a major event had occurred, and yet Qin Feng hadn't tried to contact her or apologize. Every time he got angry with her before, he would find a way to make it up to her. But now, not only had he failed to do so, he had even hit her, something her parents had never done, just because she skipped class to attend Song Fei's concert. Furious, Qin Xiao decided that if Qin Feng didn't apologize 1,000 times, she would never forgive him. She felt no guilt about going to Song Fei's concert either. Before this whole game situation happened, she might never have another chance to see Song Fei perform live, and she was glad she got to see him up close one last time. Then it dawned on her that she and Song Fei were from the same city. Entering the game required falling asleep, so Song Fei would definitely join as well. That meant if she went into the game, there was a chance she could see him again. Eager, she reached out to Zhang Wei, the classmate who had rapidly reached level 3, to ask if he knew any safe and efficient leveling strategies. When Zhang Wei saw her message, he could hardly believe that Qin Xiao, the school's lofty goddess, had come to him for advice. Sensing a great opportunity, he quickly replied, saying she had asked exactly the right person. He told her his secret for early success: put all attribute points into agility at the start, otherwise the monsters would be too fast and would overwhelm her. Jingzhao asked if she should still focus on agility even if she chose a magic-type character. Zhang Wei insisted that agility wasn't useless for magic users because it also increased casting speed, which was critical in the early stages. She then asked what to do if she still lost after pouring all her points into agility. Zhang Wei reassured her that once someone in the starter village reached level 5, they could activate the village's teleportation formation. At that point, she could join a random party to level up more safely, and when the formation was open, he would find her and help her gain levels quickly. Thrilled to have found people willing to help, Qin Xiao decided that she would show Qin Feng just how capable she was by entering the game immediately. Let him stay arrogant if he wanted. Once she was at a much higher level, she wouldn't help him at all. With that, she fell asleep, ready to enter the god-forsaken game. Meanwhile, inside the game, after defeating the boss, Qin Feng collected the loot. The boss had dropped a gold-grade item called the Cursed Ring, which could be used by all professions. It increased all attributes by +8 and provided +26 dark elemental resistance. Qin Feng was stunned. An extra +8 in every attribute was the equivalent of 32 attribute points. It was like instantly gaining 3 levels of stats, and it even offered valuable dark resistance. This ring would undoubtedly be useful against many monsters. The boss also dropped a Silver Grace assassin-type skill book called Instant Shadow Slash. The skill allowed the user to dash in a chosen direction, up to 15 meters, and become invisible for 5 seconds, delivering 3 slashes to all enemies along the path. Each slash dealt 100 attack and was counted as a 100% backstab, although it couldn't deal additional weak point damage. Its cooldown was 12 seconds. Qinfeng was thrilled. It was a powerful area of effect attack that included teleportation and invisibility. He immediately learned it. In addition to the items, he also received evolution points from the boss. Without hesitation, he used them to evolve his greedy hand first, hoping for better loot in the future. After spending 8 evolution points, the greedy hand evolved from Jade to Diamond. Now it could be used on a monster's corpse to grant a 220% chance of obtaining extra loot. Even better, the extra loot had a 40% chance to be 1 tier higher. With this upgrade, every monster he killed could drop 2 pieces of loot. It was like killing 3 monsters in the time it took to kill 1. He then spent the remaining evolution points to raise Instant Shadow Slash by 3 tiers, evolving it from Silver to Platinum. The upgraded version allowed him to teleport up to 21 meters in one direction, remain invisible for 7 seconds, and deliver 5 slashes to all enemies in his path. Each slash now dealt 200 attack and was still considered a 100% backstab, though it remained incapable of hitting weak points. Qinfeng noticed that the cooldown hadn't changed, which was a bit inconvenient, but simply having the ability to stay invisible almost indefinitely through repeated uses was enough for him at this stage. As he considered whether there was anything in his loot that he could sell for tradable lifespan, 3 level 4 limb crawlers suddenly attacked him. However, this was no threat. Rather, it was an opportunity to test out Instant Shadow Slash. The moment Qinfeng activated it, he killed all 3 limb crawlers in a single hit, earning 80 EXP and 5 tradable lifespan. With Instant Shadow Slash, his efficiency at killing monsters rose sharply. If he used Venom Dart, he would only need 2 darts to finish off a monster, and combined with the shorter battle time, his risk of danger decreased dramatically. At the moment, he had 618 days of tradable lifespan remaining. To bring his equipment and skills into reality, he needed to sacrifice at least 2.5 years, about 900 more days, of tradable lifespan. He decided to return to the newbie village and sell all the items in his inventory, hoping it would be enough to reach the required minimum. Once he reached level 10, he planned to bring his in-game skills and equipment into the real world. And as Qinfeng made his way back to town to sell his equipment, he heard voices in the nearby forest. Quickly, he activated his invisibility skill and went to investigate. He saw 2 people, a blonde-haired girl named Lizzie and Mao Lijun, who had helped Lizzie reach level 3. Mao Lijun was asking Lizzie to fulfill her promise now that she had leveled up. Lizzie told him not to worry and gave him her phone number, saying he should contact her directly. She also promised to pay him 5 million. Additionally, she wanted to buy any tradable lifespan he had, offering him 10,000 per day of lifespan. Mao Lijun sneered at the idea that Shadow Qinfeng had failed to recognize how big of a boss Lizzie was. He didn't care if the game could affect real-world lifespan. He believed he could farm more lifespan anytime. Only those who converted their in-game abilities into real money were true geniuses in his eyes. Meanwhile, Qinfeng slipped away from their conversation and continued on to Shelltown. Upon arrival, the first thing he did was activate the teleportation formation, earning 1 reputation point. This allowed him 1 free teleport per day, but at the moment, there were no other active teleportation formations in Jianghai City. A formation required 2 points of activation. Someone in another town must also reach level 5 and activate their formation to enable a 2-way teleport. Qinfeng recalled that in his previous life, it was Song Fei who activated the formation in Firefly Town. He set up an alert so he would know immediately when someone activated Firefly Town's teleportation formation. However, that was only a side concern. His main goal was to reach level 10, then head to the God's Abandoned Realm, where the God's Forsaken game truly began. Before that, he needed enough tradable lifespan to bring his skills and equipment into reality. He quickly set up shop in town, selling all the loot he had obtained from various monsters. A crowd of players gathered, eager to see if the expert Shadow was selling anything they could use. They hoped for another skill book like the Icicle spell he sold previously, which had propelled Grey Roll to 2nd place on the rankings. Indeed, Qinfeng had some skill books for sale. Among them was a silver-tier Battle Roar skill book for warriors. A warrior-class player immediately purchased Battle Roar for 300 days of tradable lifespan. Someone in the crowd questioned whether using 300 days of lifespan for a single skill book was worth it, but another player argued that Battle Roar would greatly increase a warrior's efficiency in farming monsters. In less than 2 days, they could easily earn back 300 days of lifespan. Encouraged by that reasoning, people rushed to buy Qin Feng's items. Within a minute, everything was sold. Qin Feng earned 650 days of tradable lifespan, bringing his total to 2,174 days. It still wasn't enough to transfer his level, attributes, profession, and equipment into the real world, but it was a step closer to his goal. Just then, an orange-hailed girl, one of Wang Meng's party members, approached Qin Feng. She told him she had a special treasure to sell, a space ring with 12 inventory slots that didn't occupy the ring or backpack equipment slot. Qin Feng was startled. This was exactly what he'd been searching for. Storage gear like this was extremely rare because each player could only carry 3 storage backpacks at most, and rings with extra slots had an incredibly low drop rate. Her luck was astonishing. He asked her how much she wanted for it, recalling that in his previous life, a 12-slot ring could easily sell for 3,600 days of tradable lifespan. Smiling, the girl, whose name was Black Plum, explained that she didn't want lifespan. Instead, she simply wanted to befriend him and form a party to kill a particular boss. Qin Feng agreed and accepted her friend request. Curious, he asked what boss she had in mind. Black Plum explained it was a gold-tier boss. She hadn't seen it clearly because it was too far away, but it resembled a tattered boat drifting in a swamp. Qin Feng instantly wondered if it could be the Golden Ghost ship, a rare special boss that could appear at any level. Its appearance rate was notoriously low, and it always dropped extremely valuable items. In his previous life, whenever the Golden Ghost ship emerged, fierce battles broke out among major guilds. A level 5 Golden Ghost ship was the easiest version to defeat. Encountering it in the beginner village, obtaining the rare storage ring, and being a member of Wang Meng's party, Qin Feng couldn't help but recall the rumors of a koi fish player, someone with unimaginable good luck. He asked Black Plum how she'd found this gold-tier boss. She told him that after she finished her meal in the real world, she returned to the game to level up with her party, but they were so slow that she got bored and went exploring. That was when she stumbled upon the boss beneath a cliff. Qin Feng remembered hearing in his past life that Wang Meng's party supposedly had a member with koi fish luck, often stumbling upon rare bosses, treasure chests, hidden dungeons, and temples. He had thought it was just a rumor to conceal their secret information, but apparently it was true. Embarrassed by his staring, Black Plum looked away. Qin Feng then led the way out of town, unaware that they were being followed. A bald man rushed off to inform his leader that Shadow had left town with a girl. The leader grinned and told his men to follow. As they headed out, Qin Feng told Black Plum he could take care of the boss. If the boss dropped any gear or skills she could use, he would give those items to her. Everything else would go to him. Concerned, Black Plum asked about Captain Wang Meng and the rest of her party. Qin Feng pointed out that their group had a variety of classes, so there was no guarantee any loot for his assassin build would drop. If it didn't, he'd walk away empty-handed. Black Plum agreed, but made a small request. If there happened to be any suitable equipment for Wang Meng or the others, could he sell it to them at a discount? Qin Feng readily agreed. Black Plum then asked where they were going next. Qin Feng replied they were heading straight for the gold-tier boss. Shocked, Black Plum pointed out that he was just an assassin and she was a mage. He might be able to turn invisible, but if the boss targeted her, she wouldn't be able to survive. Qin Feng told her not to worry, he alone was enough, and she could simply watch from a safe distance. While she already knew he was strong, the idea of one person defeating a gold-tier boss seemed ridiculous. Suddenly, Qin Feng noticed they were being tailed. He quickly used his stealth skill, disappearing into thin air. Alarmed, Black Plum looked around, wondering where he had gone. The same group that had been following them earlier now thought Black Plum was alone. They rushed out of hiding to ambush her, but they forgot Qin Feng was still there, just invisible. Qin Feng instantly activated Instant Shadow Slash and killed the ambushers in one swift move, gaining 12 days of tradable lifespan. Disappointed at how poor they were, less profitable than fighting a couple of small mobs, he returned to Black Plum's side. When she asked where he had gone, Qin Feng explained that a few people had been following them, so he sent them back to town. Black Plum, however, misunderstood and assumed he had been using his invisibility skill just to go to the bathroom. She joked that it must be very convenient to pee or poop anywhere without being seen. Annoyed, Qin Feng told her to stop talking nonsense and lead the way to the boss. Meanwhile, Zhao Yo successfully logs into the godforsaken game and is amazed by how realistic it looks. Even more exciting, she has unlocked a hidden class, Priestess of Life. Confident that this will put her on par with her brother Songfei, she decides she must find him and share the secret of initial point distribution. However, she's also furious, wondering where that idiot Qin Feng has gone. He's always trying to control everything, but now, when she really needs him, he's nowhere to be found. She suspects he doesn't care at all. Well, it doesn't matter. She now has a hidden class, and Zhang Wei has promised to help her level up. Qin Feng can fend for himself. She's not going to help him anymore. Just then, Zhao Yo notices the leaderboard, which shows that someone named Shadow is ranked number 1, and already at level 6. Zhao Yo is astonished. Zhang Wei is only level 3, yet he brags about how powerful he is. It seems Shadow is the true expert. If she could team up with him, she would definitely level up faster than with Zhang Wei. The only problem is that she has no idea where to find this top player. At that moment, she overhears a group of players complaining. One of their team members, their main healer, is missing and not responding. They're out of time and can't fight monsters without a healer. After all, they're not Shadow, who can solo anything on his own. One of the group members suggests finding a different healer. Seizing this opportunity, Xiaoyo approaches them, announcing that if they need a healer, she can help. After all, she just obtained the Hidden Priestess of Life class. Meanwhile, Qin Feng and Black Plum reach their destination, where the hidden boss is located. Qin Feng is stunned to see that the boss is the Golden Grade Ghost Ship. He tells Black Plum to hide and stay on guard against surprise attacks. He'll handle the boss himself. Black Plum agrees, and Qin Feng uses his stealth technique to become invisible. As Qin Feng moves in to fight the boss monster, a sudden notification appears. Greater than. Due to the influence of the ghost ship, this area has become a rage zone. Life loss rate in the area 100 times normal. Qin Feng realizes that staying here for 15 minutes would consume an entire day of his life. Still, he's not too worried. His priority is to defeat the ghost ship and grab the rare drop before time runs out. Fortunately, there are 45 minutes left on the timer, more than enough in his view. Without wasting any time, he uses Instant Cut on the ghost ship, dealing 549 damage. Then he throws a poison dart at the bell hanging from the ship's bow, inflicting 621 damage. Because of the poison, the boss continues to lose 207 HP over time. From his past life knowledge, Qin Feng knows the ghost ship has tricky mechanics. 1. Most players don't realize its weak point is not the skeleton or hull, but the phantom fire bell on the bow. 2. When its weak spot is attacked, the ghost ship controls surrounding waters to launch a massive area attack, Water Jet, which deals extremely high damage. In the early stages, only a warrior with a full set of silver equipment can withstand it. Fortunately, Shadow class agility is high enough for Qin Feng to dodge. 3. After the area attack, the boss summons 12 rotten aquatic ghosts onto the field. Each ghost is as strong as a silver gray boss. They'll attack frantically and most teams would fall apart at this point. Worse, every 3 minutes, the ghost ship summons another batch of these ghosts. Left unchecked, their numbers become overwhelming, eventually spelling doom for most players' equipment. For Qin Feng, however, invisibility solves a lot of problems. The ghosts can't detect him, so he only needs to find the right angle to take them all out at once. He uses Instant Cut repeatedly and kills the rotten aquatic ghosts with ease. From the hill above, Black Plum watches in disbelief. She cannot believe this is the Shadow, the number 1 player on the leaderboard. He's too strong, appearing and disappearing like a ghost himself. The boss has already lost a third of its HP and can't seem to fight back at all. Suddenly, Qin Feng calls out to Black Plum, telling her he's about to die. He instructs her to wait for his revival. Shocked and confused, she asks why. Isn't he at a clear advantage? Meanwhile, the group of thugs who had previously been killed by Qin Feng are back for revenge. Their leader is furious at having been humiliated by a baby healer. One of his men reports that they've located the woman, Black Plum, standing on a cliff. That damn Shadow is down below, fighting the boss alone. The leader gathers his henchmen, bragging that this time he has backup. He plans to take Shadow down and get revenge. Back at the fight, Qin Feng has reached the most dangerous part. Once the Golden Grade Ghost Ship's HP drops to half, it unleashes a wide-range soul wave that immobilizes its target for 5 seconds. Unable to dodge, Qin Feng has no choice but to die. In doing so, he loses 326 non-tradable years of life and 1,087 tradable life days. From the cliff, the thug's boss, named Deepak, or He-She Gao, as he declares himself, bursts out laughing. He mocks Qin Feng for thinking he could take on a gold-grade boss alone just because people call him an expert. One of the henchmen then spots a massive life orb on the ground where Qin Feng died. They can't believe how loaded Shadow is. That orb must be worth hundreds of days of life. The thug's boss orders his men to finish off the ghost ship. It only has half its HP left, so they can take it down and claim the life he dropped. He sneers that Shadow deserves his fate. Today, He-Si-Gu will feast on the spoils of a rich player. Before they can approach the golden-grade ghost ship, however, the sky suddenly clears, and a bright light appears in front of them, catching everyone by surprise. And in the next moment, when they open their eyes, they find themselves back in the starting town. They're furious, unable to believe how powerful that boss is. How did Shadow manage to get it down to half hate? It's ridiculous. They entered the swamp and were instantly killed by the water pillar and swarmed by small mobs. Their leader refuses to accept this outcome. He tells his men, "Let's go back again!" Meanwhile, Qin Feng has returned to the Golden Ghost Ship boss's location after being killed. He approaches to retrieve the loot he dropped upon dying, but to his surprise, he sees even more lifespan light orbs than he expected. He asks Black Plum why there are so many. She explains that a group of players came charging in, made a lot of noise, and were instantly wiped out by the water column. Qin Feng smiles, thinking they overestimated their capabilities. He recalls how, in his previous life, he also suffered at the hands of the ghost ship. He knows the Golden Ghost Ship will only use its immobilization skill once. After that, it's relatively easier to handle. When its HP falls below half, there's a chance it will disappear and reappear far away, which can be a big problem for normal players. But for Qin Feng, it isn't difficult at all. He throws another poison dart at the bell on the ghost ship's bow, dealing damage. The boss retaliates with another skill, but Qin Feng has long since memorized its movement patterns. He rushes forward and activates Instant Shadow Slash. Just then, the group of thugs returns and sees that Qin Feng is fighting the boss again. The thug's boss tells his men to look for a chance to eliminate both Qin Feng and Black Plum. From a distance, Black Plum notices them and realizes they're about to cause trouble for the expert again. She can't let them ruin Qin Feng's fight, so she uses a lightning spell to strike the thug's boss. Enraged, the boss demands to know who attacked him. One of his men points to Black Plum and says, "She cast the spell." Furious, the boss orders his men to capture and kill her. Black Plum starts running, calling out for help. At the same time, another group of players is hiding behind some trees, waiting to let Qin Feng wear down the Golden Ghost Ship so they can steal the loot afterward. Meanwhile, Qin Feng is close to finishing off the Golden Grade Ghost Ship. Although it's only level 5, it's still tough to kill solo, and his damage isn't very high. The prolonged fight has attracted many onlookers. A group stands on the cliff, the same people who died earlier, and another group lurks near the swamp, waiting for him to finish off the boss so they can ambush him. With one final strike, Qin Feng kills the Golden Ghost Ship boss. He gains 4,800 EXP, which levels him up to level 8, and he earns 7 evolution points plus 216 tradable days of lifespan. Because he's the first in the server to kill a gold-grade boss, he also receives 3 reputation points. Players all around the server were stunned. Someone had already defeated a gold-level boss, while most of them couldn't even handle bronze-level bosses. Wang Mang saw the announcement and was shocked. Wasn't Shadow just fighting a bronze boss not long ago? And now, he's soloed a gold boss? How is the gap this wide? Xiao Yu also saw the announcement and couldn't believe it. Shadow really is the strongest. If he can carry me while leveling up, I'll be able to see Brother Songfei in no time. Meanwhile, after defeating the boss, Qin Feng stood before the loot it dropped, 3 pieces of golden rank equipment and several silver rank items. The group hiding behind the trees also saw the loot and couldn't believe how much it had dropped. They noticed Shadow hadn't picked up the items. He must have gone invisible again, clearly cautious of being ambushed. The leader turned to his teammate, Ah Guang. "Use your skill, find that guy and kill him. We'll take the gold boss loot for ourselves." Ah Guang activated his Phantom Horned Eagle skill, scanning the area for any signs of Qin Feng. Qin Feng, hidden nearby, noticed the search and narrowed his eyes. So, that hunter already learned an anti-invisibility skill? No wonder they're so confident in trying to kill me and snatch the loot. Too bad for them, he smirked. My assassin class has a +1 invisibility level. A basic level 1 anti-invisibility skill won't break it. After searching with no results, Ah Guang turned back to his leader. He's gone. Must have run off after seeing how many of us there are. At least he's smart, the leader muttered, then ordered, "Guard the loot. Don't let your guard down, be ready to fight at any moment." Boss, loot ownership time remaining 5 minutes. After that, the loot would become available for anyone to grab. Jin Feng, still invisible, overheard their conversation. Without hesitation, he activated Instant Slash and swiftly eliminated the players. After finishing them off, he glanced around the area, trying to see where Black Plum had run off to. He dismissed the thought. I'll find her later. Right now, he had something more important to do. He had enough evolution points to upgrade his Greedy Hand skill. Better to enhance it before collecting the loot. Using all 7 of his evolution points, Qin Feng successfully upgraded Greedy Hand Diamond to Epic. Chance to obtain extra loot increased from 220% to 300%. Extra loot has a 100% chance to be 1 tier higher than standard drops. Qin Feng smiled in satisfaction. A 100% chance? That's basically guaranteed higher tier equipment. He gathered all the glowing lifespan orbs in the area, clenched his fist, and activated his skill. Greedy Hand activated. Plus 21 evolution points. Plus 646 days of lifespan. Tradable. Plus 2 special items. Ghostfire Bell. Qinfeng's eyes widened in surprise. 2 Ghostfire Bells? Item. Ghostfire Bell. Pre-equipped. Prevents lifespan loss upon death. Cooldown 1800 seconds. Passive, Soul Absorb. Increases lifespan drop rate by 20%. Effect. Stacks when equipped with 2 Ghostfire Bells. 40% boost. Active skill. Soul Shock. Immobilizes all enemies within 100 meters for 3 seconds. Cooldown 600 seconds. Qin Feng was thrilled. This thing's not even considered regular equipment. It's a special item. It doesn't take up an equipment slot, and even better, 2 Ghostfire Bells only occupy 1 inventory space. This is insanely convenient. Just then, a message came through the party channel. Black Plum was calling for help. Qin Feng heard her voice and immediately replied, "Where are you?